Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and in today's video we're going to continue to have a look at the latest from the live radar. Run for the weather warnings, as we still got warnings for rainfall issued for parts of England and Wales over the next couple of days. Have a look at the latest UKV, as it is going to be very up and down over the coming days. Plenty of unsettled and very mild conditions, but equally it is starting to turn a little bit chillier as we head into next week, as we do start to see that jet stream start to push southwards again. We are seeing that from the latest GFS and ECMWF, all showing cooler conditions coming in for the last week or two of February. Now, as I said, it's going to bring cooler conditions, but also it is going to bring that storm track further southwards, and that could actually give us some cooler but very stormy conditions as we progress over the next week or two. Some runs really spinning up some lows, giving some quite intense systems in the near future. So do remember, if you enjoy the videos, make sure you like and subscribe, and remember to follow me on Twitter as well. The link's in the description. Now, if you start on the live radar, you can see lots of heavy rain across Scotland at the moment, pretty much covering the whole country. However, further southwards across England, Wales, Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland, some drier weather moving in. However, we are starting to see more rain progress into Wales and southwest England. Some of this looking really quite heavy as well, as those winds come in from the southwest. Now, this afternoon, temperatures are pretty mild indeed. Look at that, even a bit of orange appearing across central England. 15, 16, even reports of 17 degrees being observed. Again, we have reached 20 degrees in February, but regardless, this is still incredibly mild. Not what you'd expect this time of year, especially after a lot of the hype we've had recently, as a lot of the longer range runs have showed colder conditions blocking, but not really seeing it at the moment. Now, if you do have a look at the latest weather warnings, you can still see that we've got these two warnings issued across parts of the Midlands until 3 AM tomorrow, and this other warning across southwest England and South Wales again until midnight tonight. Again, we won't go through these in detail because we did look at them in yesterday's video and you can see they haven't been updated. But again, it's for a few tens of millimetres of rain. The individual amounts, not spectacular, but onto a pretty saturated ground. That's why there are going to be potentially issues in these regions. And as we saw from the live radar, that rainfall is already moving in. Now, if you do have a look at the latest from the UKV, actually looking at that rain coming in, you can see a lot of rain earlier this morning. But as we head through the afternoon, it is starting to slowly clear. However, more rain moving in this evening for those southern and western portions of England and Wales, and it will progress and become more widespread overnight tonight into tomorrow morning. Looking really heavy within it, but it should quickly move through, and by tomorrow mid-morning, most of that rain should have cleared. Showers continue coming in from the west, and as I said, it's going to be very up and down. As you can see tomorrow, it doesn't look like too bad of a day. With a few showers around, some sunshine, and it will probably still be fairly mild. Into the weekends, still pretty decent for Saturday initially, before this weather front moves in, giving lots of heavy rain by the evening and miserable conditions for many into the early hours of Sunday. And then Sunday, another up day potentially with sunshine and showers around. And then as we head into Monday and Tuesday, we could see things deteriorate again with some more rain pushing in from the west, but it does look like it peters out through Monday, and then another low moving in for Tuesday. But into the subsequent days, that is where we can see the jet stream push southwards, turning cooler and potentially a lot more unsettled. If you do look at the max temperatures, you can see through this afternoon, temperatures peaking around the 14-15 degree mark, potentially even locally higher. UKV can have a degree or two discrepancy, and we're seeing 15-16 here, so 17 or 18 degrees is not out of the picture. Be very interesting to see later today what those top temperatures come out to be. Into tomorrow, it still will be fairly mild, but not quite as mild. With that rainfall moving through, we are going to see the temperatures dip slightly, maybe down to the low teens, but still well above average for the time of year. Into the weekend, a little bit chillier to start Saturday, but again, nothing spectacular. And it's the afternoon again. We're looking at 13-14 degrees, ridiculous for the time of year. And then as we progress into Sunday, again, very mild, 13-14 degrees. Almost you could call this a bit of a heat wave for February. Yes, it's not reaching the 20-degree heights that we have seen over the past few years in a few areas, but regardless, the persistency of these temperatures is ridiculous. But as I said, dipping as we head into the final 10 days or so of the month. And then finally into Monday and Tuesday, again, fairly mild, not quite as mild, but back down towards the low double digits, 10 to 12 degrees. Now, if you have a look at the latest from the longer range, if you start on the GFS, you can see one is so mild, southwesterly winds, and that is going to continue over the coming days. But the jet stream is going to push southwards next week, and look at these lows starting to move in with a bit more of a southerly track, and it could be very unsettled indeed. Look at that storm system there, right in the extended range into the final days of February. Not only is it very deep area of lower pressure, but it has got the winds veering in from the north to northwest, which would mean colder air would filter in behind it. Couldn't even rule out a bit of winteriness associated with this. If we do look at those upper air temperatures, it does cool, not significantly because there is no blocking forcing that very cold air towards us, but the -5 isotherm does move in, and it will give the real possibility of snow, especially further northwards, but perhaps elsewhere as well. But the problem you get with these sort of setups, if we do zoom into United Kingdom look, is the dew points do struggle to be widely below freezing because it is a polar maritime air mass coming across quite a large sea track, and unfortunately it does mean that it does moderate that air quite significantly. Unfortunately, Weather Central doesn't seem to be updating here, but take my word for it. A normal polar maritime air mass, even though those upper air temperatures do look conducive for snow, we can struggle with it, especially for low-lying areas. Now, if you go over to the GM and see what that is showing over the course of the next 10 days or so, southwesterly wind continuing to push in, eventually the jet stream pushes southwards, very stormy conditions and also cooler with colder air filtering in from southern Greenland. Very similar to the GFS, slightly different timings with those lows, but very similar with that northwest-southeast alignment of the jet stream. Now, to finish for the longer range runs, if we look at the ECMWF, it is broadly the same. Southwesterly winds continue over the coming days with some drier weather, but in around a week's time, by the middle of next week, that's when the jet stream pushes in from the pushes southwards with the wind coming in from the northwest, cooler and very unsettled. Not quite as dominant by those very low heights that we saw from the GFS especially, but regardless, still unsettled and still fairly chilly. Now, to finish by looking at the latest ensembles, you see the latest GFS very mild over the next week, and then turning progressively cooler, but also very unsettled into the final week or so of the month. Not quite as cold as yesterday, but you can see plenty of -5 to -10 runs. Again, most likely polar maritime air, so it is unlikely to be severely cold or anything like that, but definitely the possibility of snow over higher ground when that air mass does start to move in. So it'll be an interesting watch the last 10 days of February. There could be a few surprises around when you get this time of year. We get those polar maritime air masses moving in. Very cold sea surface temperatures does mean there can be some surprises, even with only a moderately cold air mass like we're seeing here. But no ridiculously cold weather that we thought would be coming in February. Does seem like, as I said yesterday, the longer range runs continue to be to underperform this winter so far. And again, we'll have to take that into next year, and we'll have to very much downgrade our trust in a lot of these longer range charts, like those ECMWF weekly anomalies, and a lot of those very long range charts that we did look at in the winter look aheads. But we'll have to see exactly what happens over the course of the next couple of weeks. But definitely very mild at the moment before turning cooler and more unsettled. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you have enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you again for another video soon.